We tell stories of human. Way, not with artificial voices or AI slop. In the end, what's HFI without? Humanity? Subscribe to keep it this way. My name is Amir Sohal. Let's begin. The sky over the alien city shimmered with strange colors, reflecting the high towers and floating platforms that stretched toward the clouds. From a distance, it looked peaceful, almost too perfect. But inside the grand palace, the air was tense. The High King paced in his golden hall, his eyes narrowing at the screen showing scattered reports. A small group of humans had dared something that no one in the galaxy expected. They had attacked a school bus. At first, the word seemed laughable. A school bus? Against the might of his army? How could such fragile beings be dangerous? But the reports kept coming, each more alarming than the last. The High King's assistant, a tall alien with silver skin and glowing eyes, approached nervously. "My king, the bus, it was not ordinary. It carried something unusual. Our forces could not contain it." The High King stopped pacing. "Explain," he demanded. His voice echoed through the hall, sharp and full authority. "The humans," the assistant began carefully, "they attacked with precision. They did not use reckless force. Our patrols were caught off guard. They knew exactly what they were doing." The High King's heart sank a little. He had underestimated humans before. They were always primitive, weak, easy to scare. Yet, this attack suggested something more, something dangerous. In a small, dimly lit room far from the palace, the humans themselves prepared for their next move. The bus was parked in a hidden alley, surrounded by tall walls and a network of secret sensors. Inside, children were laughing, unaware of the tension outside. But these humans were not ordinary. They had trained for years, learned every trick, and their weapons were hidden in plain sight. Captain Mara, the leader of the small human unit, checked her map one last time. "The High King will not see this coming," she whispered to her team. Her voice was calm, but carried a sharp edge. "We are small. We are clever. That is our strength." Her team nodded, understanding without words. Each member had lost someone to the High King's armies. Each one had a reason to fight, but none of them wanted unnecessary bloodshed. Their target had been chosen carefully. A school bus, yes, but with a secret that could change the course of the coming war. Back in the palace, the High King called for his generals. "Send more patrols. Surround the area. Find these humans." The generals bowed and left quickly, their feet echoing against the marble floor. But as they departed, the High King stared at the screens. He could not shake a feeling of dread. Something about this attack was not ordinary. The humans had struck with purpose. They had done it quietly, almost invisibly, and yet the impact was clear. Hours passed. Reports trickled in. The alien soldiers had found signs of human presence. Strange devices, small but powerful, hidden along the roads. The High King's confidence wavered. He had always believed that humans were weak, predictable. Now that belief was shaken. In a quiet corner of the city, a young alien messenger ran breathlessly through the streets. His communicator was almost trembling in his hand. "My king," he gasped. "The humans, they are not ordinary. They have weapons, technology. I do not understand it." The High King's eyes widened. "Show me." The messenger led him to a holographic display, projecting images of the human devices. They were small, strange, and deadly. The humans had hidden them inside ordinary objects. The High King's jaw tightened. Every weapon, every gadget seemed simple, but the effect it had on his troops was catastrophic. This is impossible," the High King whispered. "How can beings so small, so insignificant, cause such damage?" In the human hideout, Captain Mara smiled faintly as she watched the palace's screens from a distance. "They are already scared," she said softly. "Just as we hoped. The humans had planned every detail. Every route the bus would take, every patrol it might encounter, they had calculated. Yet, they moved silently, without drawing attention. Their victory was quiet, but undeniable." High King's mind raced. He had faced rebellion before, minor skirmishes, but nothing like this. The humans were unpredictable. They did not fight like other species. They were clever, resourceful, and completely unafraid. Night fell over the city. The glowing towers reflected in the river, giving the illusion of calm. But in the palace, the High King could not sleep. Every shadow in the halls seemed to whisper warnings. Every report he received carried a new piece of unsettling information. The humans had not just attacked the bus. They had sent a message. And the message was clear. Underestimate humans at your own risk. In the streets, the humans moved quietly back to their hidden base. Children safely returned to their homes, unaware that they had been at the center of an operation that shook an empire. Captain Mara looked at her team. "Well done," she said. "Tonight, we show them we are more than they think. But this is just the beginning." High King sat alone in his chamber, staring at the flickering holograms. He felt fear for the first time in decades. He had always believed in the superiority of his army, the inevitability of his rule. But humans were different. They were small, yes, but cunning, brave, dangerous in ways he had not imagined. He whispered to himself, almost in disbelief, "We only attacked a school bus, and yet everything feels broken." Outside the palace, the city lights flickered, shadows moving as if alive. Somewhere in the hidden alleys, humans celebrated quietly, knowing they had done something remarkable. They had sent a shockwave through the alien empire without even raising a full battle. The High King's generals continued to report. "We will catch them, my king," they assured him. But he no longer believed them completely. The humans had started a chain of events that could not be stopped easily. And for the first time, the High King realized that underestimating humans might cost him everything. As the night deepened, a final message arrived from a reconnaissance drone. The image of the bus, empty now but with traces of human devices, flashed across the High King's screen. His face turned pale. "They were prepared for everything, he muttered. And in that moment, the High King understood. This was no ordinary attack. This was a warning. A small group of humans had challenged an empire and had already shown their strength. The city slept under a calm sky, unaware of the storm that had begun. But the High King could not rest. The humans had made their mark, and the empire would never see the galaxy the same way again. The first part of the story ends with tension and curiosity. Who are these humans really? What is hidden on that school bus? And how will the High King respond? The morning sun rose over the alien city, painting the towers in shades of gold and silver. From a distance, the city looked calm, but inside the palace, panic had replaced confidence. The High King could not sleep the night before. His mind was consumed with thoughts of the human attack. A school bus? How could something so simple be so dangerous? The High King called his council to the war chamber. "Show me everything," he demanded. The room filled with generals, each more nervous than the last. Holograms of the human operation hovered in the air, glowing faintly in the dim light. One general stepped forward. "My king, the bus, it was not ordinary. It carried humans with advanced devices that could disable our patrols in seconds." The High King froze. "Explain." His voice was sharp, trembling with anger and disbelief. "The humans use small objects, ordinary objects, but they held power far beyond what we expected. Our troops, they could not even approach the bus without risk." The High King's fist clenched. He had always believed humans were weak, tiny, fragile, easy to crush. Yet this attack had shaken him to the core. He stared at the hologram. The bus was just a bus, but the humans inside had turned it into a weapon of precision, something he had never imagined possible. Far away, in a hidden warehouse, the humans were already preparing for the next stage. Captain Mara moved among her team, checking each device carefully. "They will never see us coming," she whispered. "They think we are small, weak, but we are clever, and cleverness can beat power every time." Her second-in-command, Jonas, looked uneasy. "Are you sure the High King will not retaliate?" he asked. "He will send his armies after us." Mara shook her head. "Let them try. They are too predictable. We have planned for every patrol, every soldier, every drone. They do not understand humans, and they never will." Back in the palace, the High King's paranoia grew. Every report brought more bad news. Drones that had gone to check the bus had returned damaged, their circuits fried. Surveillance posts were silent. No human presence could be detected, yet the signs of their attack were everywhere. "This is impossible," the High King shouted, slamming his fist on the table. The council flinched at the sound. How can so few humans cause such chaos? One of his advisors, an older alien with deep blue skin, spoke quietly. "My king, perhaps we have underestimated them. Perhaps they are not weak at all." The High King turned sharply. "Weak? No, humans are weak. Fragile, but clever. They are clever. Too clever. This cannot be ignored." Meanwhile, the humans were moving in shadows through the city. They were small in number, but each step was calculated. They avoided unnecessary conflict. Their goal was simple: survive, deliver the message, and strike precisely where it mattered. Captain Mara paused near a wall, listening to the city below. "The bus is just the beginning," she told her team. "The High King will learn that humans are not toys, that every life counts, that every plan matters." Back in the palace, the High King stared at a new report. It was a live feed from one of the human devices. The image was simple: the bus moving, children laughing inside. Nothing unusual. But the High King knew better. That bus had been a weapon. That bus had been a test. And the humans had passed. "They have purpose," he muttered. "Every action deliberate. Every choice precise. They are not random. They are intelligent." Hours passed, and the High King ordered his soldiers to investigate deeper. But every attempt to find humans failed. It was as if the humans had vanished into thin air. Every patrol returned with reports of confusion and frustration. The humans seemed always one step ahead. In the human hideout, Captain Mara gathered her team. "We have shown them our power quietly. They do not know what hit them. But the next step is critical. We must reveal the truth carefully. One wrong move, and this entire operation could fail." Jonas frowned. "What truth? They already fear us." Mara shook her head. "Not fear, respect. They think we are reckless, dangerous, maybe even foolish. But they do not yet understand the full extent. We will show them our strength without destroying everything. That is how humans fight. With thought, not just force." Far above the city, the High King watched his maps. He could not believe what he was seeing. Patterns in the streets, strange disruptions in patrol signals. They all pointed to humans, but humans who were almost invisible. He had ruled the galaxy for decades, and he had never seen strategy like this. "This is not war," he whispered to himself. "This is intelligence, and I do not know how to stop it." The day went on. Every time the High King thought he had an advantage, a new report came. A patrol that had cornered a human unit suddenly reported confusion. Their instruments failing. Their weapons disabled by what? The humans had hidden tools, devices that seemed harmless but were devastating when used correctly. In the human base, a young recruit, barely 17, looked at Mara nervously. "Captain, what if we get caught?" Mara smiled faintly. "Then we adapt. Humans always adapt. That is our greatest strength. The High King believes in power, in numbers. But cleverness can beat armies." The High King, growing desperate, called a council of his top commanders. "We must strike now," he ordered. "Send everything we have. Destroy them before they grow stronger." One general hesitated. "My king, the humans are not ordinary. They are prepared. Every attempt to attack them has failed. Perhaps we should reconsider." "Reconsider?" the High King roared. "They are humans, weak, fragile, insignificant, and yet they make us look foolish. I will not wait. Send the entire force." Meanwhile, the humans moved silently through the city, aware of the alien army's plans but unafraid. Every patrol, every drone, every attempt to corner them was anticipated. Their devices, small and simple, neutralized threats without causing panic. Precision was key. Captain Mara watched the city from a rooftop. "The High King thinks he is in control," she said softly, "but he does not see the truth. Humans are not just fighters. We are survivors. And survival requires intelligence, patience, and courage. We will teach him that today." Night fell over the city. The alien forces were mobilizing, unaware that their movements were visible to humans. Each step they took was recorded, analyze, and counter with small, clever strikes. By the time the High King realized, his army had been delayed, confused, and frustrated at every turn. In the palace, the High King's face was pale. How? How can so few humans create such chaos? He whispered. They are organized, intelligent, fearless. How can they be so perfect in execution? Outside, the humans gathered near their hidden base. The bus from the previous attack was gone, safely hidden, but the devices it carried remained active. Mara addressed her team. Tonight, we reveal the truth. The High King must understand. Humans are not weak. Humans are not careless. We are precise. We are clever. And we will not be ignored. And so, as darkness covered the city, the humans prepared for the next stage. The High King, unaware of the full extent of their strength, could only watch and wait. But a new feeling had entered his mind. Fear. Fear of the humans he had always dismissed. Fear of their cleverness. Fear of the impossible. The second part of the story closes with tension. The High King understands humans are dangerous, but he does not know how powerful they truly are. The audience is left asking, what exactly did the humans hide on that bus? And how will the High King react next? The alien city had never been quieter. The towering spires gleamed under the pale light of 2 moons, casting long shadows across the streets. Yet beneath this calm, tension ran deep. The High King could feel it, like an itch that refused to be ignored. His patrols were returning with incomplete reports, drones malfunctioning without cause, and every attempt to locate the humans ended in failure. This is not ordinary resistance, the High King said, pacing the golden halls of his palace. His voice was low, tense. They do not move like other species. They do not fear. They do not panic. They think. One of his generals, a large creature with 3 arms and green-tinted skin, spoke carefully. My king, they are not just clever, they anticipate us. Every patrol we send is already countered before it even arrives. It is as if they know our every move. The High King's hands clenched into fists. Then we must adapt. We must strike harder, faster, and smarter. Gather all forces. Cut them off from every exit. They cannot escape us this time. Far from the palace, Captain Mara crouched atop a crumbling rooftop, her eyes scanning the city below. She adjusted her devices carefully. The streets appeared empty, but that was exactly how she wanted it. Humans thrived in invisibility, in planning, in patience. One wrong step could bring an entire army upon them, but careful planning could turn the hunter into the hunted. Jonas, Mara whispered, pointing to a small device in her hand. Start the sequence. The High King's army is about to walk into our game. Jonas hesitated. Are you sure, Captain? They have numbers, technology, firepower. Mara shook her head. Numbers mean nothing without thought. Firepower means little against precision. Watch and learn. The first alarm rang in the High King's command center. A patrol had been disabled, not destroyed, just rendered useless. Communications were cut. Drones fell from the sky, and every attempt to trace the humans led to dead ends. The generals exchanged worried glances. They are ghosts, one muttered under his breath. They are humans, the High King snapped, his voice echoing in the room. Fragile, small, weak, but now, apparently, clever enough to humiliate an empire. Outside, humans moved like shadows. One unit crept along alleyways, disabling energy traps with simple, almost playful tools. Another group had set up fake signals, confusing the alien army's tracking devices. Each action was deliberate, each choice precise. Mara watched her screens as patrols were redirected into empty streets, waiting in confusion for threats that would never arrive. They cannot anticipate everything, she murmured, but they think they can. And that is where we win. The High King grew frantic. Reports kept coming. Units lost in minor skirmishes. Patrols confused. Drones down. No human activity detected. He slammed his fist on the table. Were they hiding? An older general spoke cautiously. My king, perhaps they are using the city itself. They know every corner, every alley. Perhaps they blend in with civilians. Civilians, the High King roared. Do not insult me. Humans are weak. They cannot be hiding in plain sight. But deep down, he knew better. The humans had taught him something dangerous. Appearances could deceive. Weakness could be a mask. And intelligence, patience, and planning could turn even the smallest beings into formidable foes. Back on the rooftops, Captain Mara signaled her team. The humans activated small devices, barely larger than a hand. They emitted pulses that interfered with alien sensors, scrambled communication, and created illusions of human movement where there were none. Patrols chased shadows, fired at empty streets, and returned with confusion etched on their faces. They think they control the city, Mara whispered. But the city is ours tonight. The High King, unaware of the humans' precise strategy, ordered his generals to spread forces wider. But each movement played into the humans' hands. Every patrol split into smaller groups, only to stumble into decoys, traps, and interference fields. The humans' advantage was not strength. It was control of information. The High King could not see the full picture, and every move he made deepened his frustration. Inside the human hideout, Captain Mara gathered her team. The High King believes in numbers. He believes in firepower. But humans fight differently. Patience, observation, intelligence, that is our weapon. Jonas looked at her, wide-eyed. It is working, they're confused. The patrols are moving like puppets. Mara nodded. Good, but do not get complacent. The moment we show weakness, they will strike. Keep calm, keep precise, and every step will count. Hours passed. The city seemed alive, almost breathing. Every alley, every rooftop, every shadow could hide a human. And for every alien patrol, there was a countermeasure, a diversion, or a trick waiting. The High King's frustration turned to fear. I have armies, weapons, drones, yet they control the battlefield without leaving a trace, he exclaimed. His generals tried to reassure him, but even their voices carried doubt. The humans were no longer invisible. They were unstoppable, as long as strategy remained their ally. Outside, the humans continued their silent march through the city. Every move was calculated, every action deliberate. A small device placed on a power grid caused temporary blackouts, forcing patrols to scatter. Another device projected false human silhouettes, drawing attention away from the real units. The High King's army was lost in a maze of clever deception, unable to strike a single target. Mara crouched on the edge of a rooftop, looking at the High King's palace in the distance. He believes in control, she whispered. But he cannot control what he cannot see, what he cannot predict. Humans thrive in chaos when others think they are clever. In the palace, the High King was on the brink of collapse. Reports streamed in, patrols lost, equipment malfunctioning, drones failing. How? How can a few humans create such havoc? He muttered, pacing the hall. We are the Empire. We cannot fail. And yet every step we take is countered. A junior officer spoke cautiously. My king, maybe we should retreat and rethink strategy. They are not ordinary humans. They are exceptional. The High King turned sharply. Exceptional? No. Weak, fragile, insignificant. Yet clever. Too clever. This cannot be ignored. Meanwhile, humans prepared their final move for night. A decoy convoy was sent to lure the alien patrols into an empty plaza. Small devices created illusions of hundreds of humans, while the real team slipped away unseen. The aliens attacked, expecting resistance, but found nothing. Confusion spread like wildfire. Captain Mara watched the chaos below. Patience, precision, intelligence. Humans always win when we think and act carefully, she whispered. The High King's generals returned, their faces pale. My king, we have no control. Every move we make, they counter. The High King fell silent, staring at the city. For the first time, he felt fear, not for himself, but for the Empire. The humans were no longer weak, no longer insignificant. They had reshaped the battlefield, and the Empire was blind to their cleverness. Night deepened. The moons reflected off the high towers, shadows moving like silent predators. The humans had vanished into the city, leaving confusion and frustration behind. They had fought without brute force, without mass destruction, yet the effect was total. The High King could not comprehend it. Captain Mara gathered her team one last time. Tonight, we have shown them the truth. Humans are clever. Humans are precise. Humans survive. The High King will never underestimate us again. The High King sat alone in his chamber, staring at the flickering screens. He had faced many enemies, many rebellions, but nothing like this. Humans were small, fragile, almost invisible, yet they had turned strategy into art. And the High King knew, with a sinking heart, that the real war had only just begun. The third part of the story ends with tension, curiosity, and suspense. The High King realizes a human's intelligence is their greatest weapon, but he has yet to see the full extent of their power. The audience is left asking, what is the human's next move? How will the High King respond to a foe that cannot be fought like an ordinary army? The city lay under the cold glow of the moons. Its towers gleamed like silver swords, reflecting the chaos that had spread beneath. The High King had not slept. For the first time in centuries, he felt something foreign, fear. Not fear for himself, but fear for his empire. His armies, powerful and disciplined, had been outsmarted by humans. Small, fragile, clever humans. Prepare the fleets, the High King ordered, his voice low and deadly. We will crush them tonight. Leave nothing behind. Generals bowed, their faces pale. But even they doubted. Every plan they made, every maneuver, had already been countered by humans. They moved like ghosts, leaving no trace, striking precisely, vanishing before retaliation. The Empire was blinded, and for the first time, the High King realized that intelligence, human intelligence, was a weapon far stronger than brute force. Far away, Captain Mara watched the city from her rooftop perch. Her eyes scanned the alien patrols moving below. She saw their frustration, their confusion, and she smiled faintly. Tonight, the humans would deliver the final lesson. Team, Mara whispered, this is it. Every move we've made has led here. The High King believes he controls the battlefield, but he does not. Tonight, we show him why humans are never to be underestimated. Jonas glanced nervously at the hidden devices surrounding them. Are you sure, Captain? They have armies, weapons, fleets. Mara shook her head. It is not about armies. It is about precision, observation, strategy. Every device, every diversion, every plan we set in motion is calculated. Watch and learn. This is how humans fight. The operation began silently. Small devices, almost invisible to the naked eye, were activated across the city. Energy grids flickered, communications jammed, and patrols found themselves in loops, chasing shadows that weren't there. The humans had created an illusion of presence everywhere, confusing, overwhelming, and isolating the alien forces. Inside the palace, the High King watched the reports with growing horror. Patrols were trapped in empty streets. Drones had malfunctioned in numbers he could not calculate, and communications with his generals were broken. They are everywhere and nowhere, he muttered, pacing. How can this be possible? An advisor spoke carefully. My king, they are not merely attacking. They are controlling the battlefield. Every step we take, they predict it. Every formation we plan, they have countered it. The High King's jaw tightened. He had faced rebellions, invasions, uprisings, but never had he faced an enemy like this. Humans were small, almost fragile, yet they had turned strategy into an art form. Meanwhile, Mara led her team to the city's rooftops, guiding the humans to their final targets. Every device, every decoy, every hidden gadget was part of a larger plan to make the High King understand the full scope of human capability. Tonight, Mara whispered, we finish this without unnecessary bloodshed. Precision, intelligence, patience, that is our weapon. The High King will learn, not through destruction, but through understanding. The humans activated a central device, one that emitted a powerful, localized pulse across the city's communication network. Suddenly, holographic images of humans appeared in strategic locations, making it seem as though hundreds of human soldiers were everywhere at once. Alien patrols fired blindly, ran in circles, and reported human sightings that didn't exist. The High King stared at the screens, his face pale. Impossible it cannot be, he whispered. They are not just surviving, they are controlling everything. In the shadows, Mara and her team moved swiftly. Children from the school bus were safely escorted to secure areas, their laughter quiet but real. The humans had achieved what no one thought possible. They had struck fear into the heart of an empire, protected the innocent, and left the enemy blind and frustrated. The High King's generals returned to the palace, faces drawn. My king, we cannot contain them. Every force we send is neutralized. Every plan fails. They are ghosts. The High King turned sharply, fury and fear in his. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and support us. It really helps us grow and bring more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.